Welcome to my show, Confessions of a Futurist with Sanjiv Goyal. Every Wednesday at 3:30, only on Radio Zindagi. We invite mavericks and futurists to share their secrets and prediction of the future. Our next guest is very special. She's founder of Stanley Origin. She runs 5 dental practices in Brisbane, Australia. Yes, she's all the way from Australia. Stanley Origin is building technology for continuous measurement of your biomarker. That's why I call her an engineer too. NIH has published several studies around dynamic changes in saliva and acute mental stress. Stress-related variations of cortisol in saliva, which in turn impact your sleep. And sleep equals to stress. She is a futurist, a dreamer, and a dentist. Sonia, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev. Thank you so much for having me.
So Sonia, as you know the rule, our first question is, do you have a confession for our audience?
Yes, I do. If you ever survived on 2 to 3 hours of sleep, I used to be one of them as well, who believed the sleep was a waste of time.
Dr. Sonia, you consider yourself an activist. Why?
So I clearly remember Christmas time around 12 years ago, I found myself flying across the globe to see my sick mom. And I didn't even think she will survive the night. And so she was only given a month to live. Luckily, with some natural therapies and some of the medications, she's still alive. She's still on continuous heavy dose of medications. She was diagnosed with autoimmune disease. Since then, I started reading a lot of papers, a lot of research around autoimmune disease, around stress, around sleep, what affects our system and how human body works. And then in last 2 years, I found her sick again, quite sick. And I lost 4 of my friends to mental illness via suicide and some other things. And last year during COVID time, I had to fly again to see her. And during my travel, I realized that what did I do? I had the knowledge, I had the resources, I had the money, I had every single thing that I could take on that challenge, but I didn't do anything with my knowledge. So I put myself out there and I am taking on to the challenge, which is the biggest challenge at the moment we all are facing is mental wellness and sleep. And that's where Stanley Origin was born.
Yeah, and you and me talked before the show, especially work from home has created some very complex and interesting challenges because now people are in a confined place. So I don't know, it's good or bad. A lot of relationships are improving and a lot of relationships may be deteriorating. So I'm really glad you're working on it. But coming back to mental wellness, so can you talk to our audience about how mental wellness is related to sleep?
So when I looked at several factors and I read probably thousands of research papers, one of the biggest factor with the mental wellness is imbalance of hormones. It's imbalance of chemicals, and that's what we talk about. Now, in our daily routine, what is the one thing that actually helps us to restore, to rejuvenate, and for our body to recover, especially the brain? Sleep. Nothing else recovers your brain as well as sleep does. So when you're sleeping, if you look at the brain, when you're sleeping in the night, in your deep sleep cycle, all this fluid comes in. They're like little cleaning agents, and they clean all these sticky amyloids, which actually are brain toxins. So we focusing so much on, gut health and detoxification of the body and everything. We're not thinking of detoxification of brain at all.
Yeah, and we both know brain is the most, but very important, because unless our brain processes the information, we can't be effective. And especially we are living in an intellectual age where brain is everything. Knowledge economy we are into. So I have a very simple question for you. What can I do or our audience do to be in peak state, or every time they are in peak state? I know it's tough, but can we do that? Can you make that happen?
Yes, 100%. Sleep. I will go back to sleep. We wake up every morning and we take so many supplements or medications or bulletproof coffee or meta coffee to actually make ourselves feel better. But the research says that if we actually sleep better, we finish our sleep cycles, we're going to be more energetic when we wake up. It's like coming from a dentist. You know how you have a dental hygiene where you brush in the morning, you brush in the night, and you floss. We have sleep hygiene as well. So research says that in 2 generations only, so 2 generations, when I'm saying from my grandfather's generation, we have reduced our sleep cycle by 90 minutes. So means me and you sleeping 90 minutes less every single day than our grandparents. So if we go back to that generation, what they were doing in the evening, like they were following a sleep hygiene, you will have a warm shower, you will have your meals early, because glucose is one of the fuel for the brain. If you eat late or you eat a high sugar food in the night, your brain will get triggered and it will say, oh my God, I need to work because there is so much glucose now. So your food, your shower, blue light, we talk about blue light a lot. Blue light is actually light on steroids, I call. So blue light is really, really good during the daytime, but as soon as it's the night time and the sun goes down, we need to cut off the blue light, and not just the blue light, any other light. It needs to be dimmed.
You even asked me to buy the glasses for blue light.
Yes. And like the research, Harvard scientists, they did the research and they said that people who were exposed to blue light 6 hours a day, and I'm not talking about the evening, I'm just talking about during the daytime, their melatonin level were reduced twice as much.
Wow.
And their circadian rhythm was pushed at least 2 hours off.
So you mean to say I should wear those glasses all the time?
If you can, yes. We have blue light in our sun as well. We have blue light during the daytime, but yes, if you're using the screen more than 6 hours, you should be actually wearing it in the daytime as well. And past, I will say 8 p.m. Try not to use it. Try not to use any device at all. I know it's hard.
That doesn't work.
I know.
All busy. I'm from Silicon Valley. We work 16 hours a day. I'm sorry, but you can't do that. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about your 90 minutes. So we are sleeping 90 minutes less, but I don't feel any problem. So is it the quantity problem or is it the quality problem? Because I wonder a lot of time, if I sleep even 5-6 hours, but I get good sleep, I feel very well rested.
So sleep, again, whenever we talk about sleep in general, we talk about insomnia or lack of sleep. I usually say, talk about nutritional sleep or talk about functional sleep, and that have 2 parts. One is the protection, that how can actually we protect from feeling insomniac, means like, not able to fall asleep or wake up in the morning. And the second part is the restorative part. Restorative part is where we actually improve the quality of sleep. Quality of sleep is very, very important, where the sleep hygiene plays a huge role. Quality of sleep, so we can use adaptogen, which is very, very common nowadays, which is your sleep supplements. Ashwagandha is one of them. The second one you can do is diet. It's very, very easy to actually add few elements or distract few elements from the diet. Whatever your ritual is, less sugar, less carbohydrate, no alcohol. People believe that alcohol helps them to fall asleep.
But I want to live. I can't do that.
No,
would I become the monk?
No, have the alcohol, but not just before the bed. Don't use it as a sleep aid.
Or a stimulant. I
as
see.
A stimulant, yeah. And what alcohol does is it will not let the brain recover. So you might sleep, but your brain is actually not detoxifying. That's what alcohol does.
Oh, that's brilliant. And I'm so glad you mentioned about ashwagandha, which is like for thousands of years that supplement is available, and all of a sudden it's becoming hugely popular. You put me on it too, so I'm taking ashwagandha, and I even formulated a meta coffee with that. So for our audience, I used to take bulletproof coffee, and I changed the whole recipe of it. Not whole, I added few more ingredients. So I put a small amount of ashwagandha in the morning, and I take a recommended dose in the evening. And it has definitely improved not only my quality of life, and I'm not a doctor or expert. I personally feel that my brain, my cognitive function is better. My health, I personally feel better. Immunity, I'm not sure if it works or not, but for me, it feels better. And overall, I have less mental fog, which is interesting. A medicine, or not even a medicine, a herb, or it's a root, right? Or it's a, what part of the plant it is?
It's a root. It's a root powder.
Root powder. So, Dr. Sonia, you are planning to launch this brand called Amplify Life.
Yes.
And you want to build a device to measure continuous measurement of biomarkers, or I'm not sure, you can explain our audience better. And you also want to launch an app. So how does it really fit in, and what value it creates for our audience?
So whenever I speak to all high achievers or my friends or, other people as well, we have sleep tracking devices, we have sleep tracking wearables, we have rings, but we don't have a closed loop system. Like, I deal with patients who have sleep apnea, and I give nearly 10 devices a week for sleep apnea. So 35%, if you don't know, 35% of adults in US, they suffer from some sort of sleep apnea. 35% is a huge number. Sleep in itself is a $596 billion industry, and we're still not sleeping well. 67% of people not sleeping well. So we have these separate issues, and we have these separate solutions, but nothing is actually closing it in. And that's my plan with Stanley Origin, that you will be able to measure your stress hormones. And then once you track them, we will provide you a solution as well. And once you have the solution, you should be able to see the results. So what Stanley Origin is trying to do, it's making invisible visible. Simple. If you meditate,
visible. That's impressive.
If you meditate for 20 minutes, you should be able to see if your cortisol level is going down or not, if your serotonin level is going up or not. So if you can't see that, that means you probably need to change your meditation ways or use something else.
Interesting. So it's about measurement, because if I can measure it, I can manage it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and you're a business person, you know this. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And same thing in medical as well. If you can't measure your biomarkers, I'm sorry, you can't manage it.
That's interesting. In fact, typically I do a book recommendation in my show. So today it is called Measure What Matters.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful book written by John George for our audience. And it says the simple ideas that drives 10x growth. It's not related to sleep, but just imagine if you can have 10 times growth, what can you do in anything you do in your life? Highly recommended book. I read it and I love the book. So coming back to the sleep, Dr. Sonia, I wonder, the devices we talk about it as Ring or fitness tracker. We had Sridhar Iyengar, who's founder of Misfit last week. So I learn a lot about sleep and these, but when you talk about oral and when you talk about devices putting in the mouth, how does it work? I mean, I'm not able to comprehend that. Is it going to be part of some kind of, help me understand.
So we are working on the prototype and the alpha prototype at the moment. So initially we will start with a very discreet kind of a mouth guard, like something like your Invisalign. We are trying to keep it battery free because no one wants to put a battery in their mouth. And finally, once we reach to the final stage of the prototype, we will try and make it very, very discreet, more like a wearable sticker. So you won't feel it. It will be like this silent kind of a ghost in your mouth, and it will just work and connect to your phone, will tell you the numbers, and it will empower you. At the end of the day, I want to make people aware of their own health so that they have choices in their hands, that yes, if my cortisol level is shooting up, I can choose to just sit there and sit at that level, or I can choose to go for a 10 minutes walk or breathe, and I know that will help me.
So, Dr. Sonia, when we talk about sleep and when we talk about a ritual or routine, and then we talk about engineering, so we both understand the values in data, the values in measurement, but measurement is ineffective if you can't find some key performance indicators or create some value out of it.
Yes.
I understand the value of app because you will be able to assimilate a lot of data, and hopefully our audience will be interested in downloading that app and playing with that. When you think that app will be available, and how that app is going to change their lives, because do they need to wait for the mouth guard, or they can still use the app without the mouth guard?
No, you will be able to use the app without the mouth guard, because app will have a series of questions, and app will have a series of questions. They're designed by psychiatrists and sleep specialists, and that those questions, if you fill out that questionnaire, that will give you a report. Like, I'll give you an example, and I talk about it a lot, that people want a magic pill, they want a magic solution. You have to do the efforts behind it. One of the questions which we put in, we call it decontamination. How many of us sit in the bed with the laptop and sit in the bed with the TV on? Our brain cannot differentiate between virtual and reality. So when you go to the bed and you watch TV, your brain tells you it's actually not time to sleep, it's time to work. So one of my questionnaire is, do you actually follow a decontamination routine, that I'm not going to sit with my laptop in my bed? And that will give you a report, and that report will suggest that do these. Like, there will be a recommendation, which I'm calling it breathe inventory at the moment. And that recommendation will have recommendation of, supplements if you want to take, sleep hygiene, sleep routines you want to do. And it's not just the sleep hygiene, it's what you can do during the day as well. Like, just go out and look at the sunlight. That produces melatonin. Everyone knows this. How many of us actually do it?
Oh, I didn't know that. So that's interesting. So you mean if I go for a walk in the sun, I will get melatonin?
Yes. So what happens is our eyes, our ophthalmic nerve, one of the, which I call master clock, and the nucleus sits right under that optical nerve, and it works in synchronization. So when you look at the sunlight in the morning, it goes at the back to the master clock and says, hey, wake up, it's the morning time, and your brain start producing melatonin. So if people don't know, the melatonin gets produced in your brain.
That's interesting. And you said it's somewhere close to the eyes. I mean, how it is related to the eyes?
It sits at the back of your brain, but the nerve that supplies to your eye, all your receptors, your photoreceptors, it goes right at the back, and that nucleus sits right under that nerve.
Very cool.
And that's how they talk to each other.
That's interesting. So, and that's how I believe the melatonin works. So if I'm wearing those glasses which blocks blue light, it improves my quality of sleep. Am I right?
Yes, because in the evening when the sun goes down, and if you're still looking at the screen, your clock is not saying that it's time to wind up. So if you're wearing the blue blocking glasses, that means that it will block the light going to the brain, and it's super chiasmatic nucleus, which I call master clock. Your master clock will go, right, the sun is down, it's time to unwind, and it's time to actually sleep. So few things are really, really important, like, put the temperature down, because we all live inside nowadays. We don't have much temperature variation. So bring the light down in the house as well. Blue light glasses, put the temperature down as well. And food is very, very important, because the other organs, say for example, your liver works on the master clock as well, but it can't sense the light, but it will sense your diet.
Oh, okay. So if you're eating late, that is going to impact your sleep too.
Yes. But don't go to bed hungry either. Have a banana.
That's a good one. So, Dr. Sonia, when we talk about an app, and there are so many applications, I have like 6 apps. I have Strava, I have a few other applications where I track my sleep, and I tried the fitness band and all this 100 things like everybody else in Silicon Valley. What I wonder is, if these are all connected, because it's not just me, it's the environment around me and my lifestyle. I believe that should create an impact, or that should create interesting data which can help me understand what should be my schedule or what should be my routine. Do you agree with that?
Yes. So with the sleep as well, going into really depth, we all have different archetypes of sleep. Someone can be a night owl. If you're a night owl, you only need, say, 6 sleep cycles. But if I'm a morning person, I need 6 to 8 sleep cycles. So it depends on your work. Say, for example, shift workers, they work during the night and they sleep during the daytime. So their diet will be different, their lifestyle will be different, their sleep archetype will be different. So it depends on how much sleep they need. One of the biggest factor they found, if doesn't matter what lifestyle you have, if you can maintain the time of the bed, you go to bed and you wake up, that is one of the most important factor that will decide your sleep.
That's awesome. So Dr. Sonia, next question I have for you is, we talk about sleep hygiene, we talked about blue light. I'm just an average Joe, and I don't really understand all these complexities. What are the 2 or 5 things I can do to get better sleep?
Number 1, block the blue light. Dim the light in your house as well. Everyone works on Alexa nowadays. Just tell Alexa to dim the light by 30%, right? Dim the light, get the light out so that your system knows that it's dark and it's time to sleep. Second, you go to the bed at the same time and you wake up at the same time. Make a routine of that. Third thing, decontamination. Do not take your device, your laptop or your TV into the bedroom. Tell your brain that bedroom is only for sleep or sex. That's it. Now, no third thing should happen in the bedroom. Fourth is take something that will improve the quality of sleep. And that can be your nutrition, that can be your diet. So means reduce alcohol, reduce glucose level in the food as well, less carbohydrates. And your diet is very important. Fourth thing is wake up in the morning and go out in the sun. Even if it's for 10 minutes, wake up in the morning and go out in the sun so that your master clock knows that it's morning, it's not night. Very simple things to follow.
Dr. Sonia, this is really a wonderful conversation. I can talk to you about sleep. That's one of my, I'm trying to understand because it has improved my quality of life. I take ashwagandha supplement, and I know you are working on some proprietary blend to improve lives, and you will be launching that product in India, not in India, in Australia first and then US. But the big thing I have learned today is understanding your body is very important. And one tip I will add to what Dr. Sonia gave is water. Majority of us doesn't drink enough water. It has changed my life after I started. I increased the water intake, preferably lukewarm water. That's the best thing. You should read about Ayurveda, or even Deepak Chopra is a big fan of it. You can check it out. It's phenomenal. As soon as you get up, drink large glass of water. Very important for us. And you will find how it is going to change your life.
You nailed it, Sanjiv, because water is known as brain fuel if people don't know.
Cool. Awesome. And you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, as well as LinkedIn. Do send me your comments. I want to thank Radio Zindagi for giving me this opportunity to host this phenomenal show. Thank you very much. I'm on the board of Droisis. That is DROISYS. Please do check our job posting on dice.com. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.